It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. There's another 3 beers from America that have launched into home bargains as of very recently. And I thought that I would pick them up, put them together and review them in one sitting. So we're going to start off with a lime lager. All these beers are from Tailgate Brewery. 355ml can, 5% ABV. Then we have a vanilla cream ale. That one's 4% ABV, 355ml. And then a coconut blonde, 5% ABV, 355ml. I'm mentioning the milliliters very quickly because if you have a 330, I don't have one available, a normal kind of Coke size or small British size can, these American beers are slightly bigger. Now, they were £1.50 in home bargains per can. We're going to start off then with the lime lager. Now, Tailgate, I used to drink the Tailgate beers years and years ago. But they were kind of like American beer. I know this is American beer, so apparently what happens with this is that they brew this at the brewery in Tailgate in America, and it's specifically brewed for home bargains in the UK. So it's sent over by boat, I imagine, on a container full of beer, a bit like, Wetherspoons had a deal with a company. Remember Wetherspoons with their Devil's Backbone, where it was American beer, but they signed an exclusive deal with Wetherspoons in the UK to kind of export to Wetherspoons. Well, this is a very, very similar thing with home bargains and Tailgate Brewery. And I only know this because of you guys in the comments box. You guys are like, in America, who live near the brewery, Tailgate Brewery, you're saying, I've never heard of these beers. So they're obviously brewed for home bargains. So, beer in the glass, lime lager then. A little bit of carbonation as you rock the beer back and forth. A little bit of sediment in the bottom of the glass. And it's looking like an amber ale more than a lime lager. Let's get the aroma. Oh, wow. That has the aroma, the smell if you like, of one of those, remember tip tops, lime tip tops, like a lime slushy ice cream type thing or popsicle type thing. Or a lime opal fruit, or a starburst, a lime starburst. Smells really quite artificial. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Oh, wow. If you're expecting a lager, this is tasting more like an ale. It's not. It doesn't have the mouthfeel of a lager. It's got a kind of like almost like a medium mouthfeel to it. And then getting onto the lime, it's astringent. It's very chemical-like. I'm burping limes already after one sip. Well, not limes, but a concentrated lime cordial. if you're a fan of decent beer, you're going to steer well clear of this. This is kind of like the territory of 18-year-old adults who are studying in college or university and they want a cheap drink on a Friday night. This is more like a really kind of cheap tasting alco pop rather than a beer. And I gotta be honest with you, it's the reason why I didn't do 3 individual reviews, because just looking at these beers, just kind of saying, judging them on the names, the styles, the looks of the beer, I thought I'm gonna put 3 together here because I'm just gonna have a quick sip of each one. I never, I never prejudge. They could be the best 3 beers in the world. But I had an inkling with these, and I thought, they may not be very good. Next one then, Vanilla Cream Ale by Tailgate Brewery. I mean, for Tailgate, they don't really have much of a reputation in the UK. They don't even have much of a following or a kind of a know-how. It's not going to affect. I mean, it's a no-brainer for Tailgate. If someone like Home Bargains wants these beers in, it's not going to affect Tailgate Brewery beers in America, because you can't buy them in America. So it makes no kind of. It's not going to harm their reputation at all. Unless, of course, you're an American person watching this and you live near the brewery and you're wondering what kind of side hustle they got going on with Home Bargains in the UK and why they've chosen to brew these beers at a very, very low cost. I mean, £1.50 a can shipped to the UK from America. That's cheap as chips, isn't it? One finger whitehead on this cream ale. Little bit of carbonation. Ironically, no, it looks exactly the same. Same colour as the lime lager. Let's get the slightly hazy, little bit of sediment in the bottom of the glass. Let's get the aroma then. Cream soda. Smells a little bit better than the lime lager. Little bit more of a biscuit malt coming through. Let's dive in. Cheers, everyone. If you like American cream soda, then you'll probably like this. Fair play. It's much better than the lime lager in terms of it's not astringent. It's not kind of like pulling at your palate. It's not like that lime astringent bitterness coming through from the lime cordial. Over concentrated lime cordial. At least this 4% vanilla cream ale, it's a little bit more relaxed. It's a little bit more drinkable, if you like. It's better than the lime lager. I'm not going to suddenly wake up in the morning, think, right, I need to get dressed, put my shoes on and run down Home Bargains for this fantastic kind of vanilla cream ale. You know, it's not that sort of beer. It's very forgettable. It's very forgettable, but it's at least it's drinkable. At least it's drinkable over that horrendous lime lager. a little bit sweet, not much in the way of bitterness, touch of kind of biscuit malt coming through, and then lots and lots of cream soda flavour. Right, okay, last but not least, coconut blonde, 5% ABV. Let's get this out the way and I'll finish with a final message, because I know there are people at Home Bargains that watch these videos, and if you can hold on a minute, I just want to give them a message, but I'll do the beer review first. I just want to finish on a message to Home Bargains. I've done this before, I'll do it again, but they're fast gaining a reputation. We'll get to that in a moment. Head retention gone down very quickly. No head on the beer at all. Coconut blonde. It's a little bit of carbonation, but it looks a bit flat, to be honest with you. A little bit of sediment in the bottom of the glass. It's again, it's almost like they've chosen to brew. Look at these beers; they're all the same colour. This is meant to be a blonde. I know if you're Tailgate Brewery and you've got to kind of find a margin to brew this beer really cheaply, then you're not going to put an awful lot of effort into it, are you? But at least make it blonde. At least make it blonde in colour. Aroma. Oh, it smells like aftershave. It smells like hairspray or aftershave. You know when you get a little bit in your mouth by accident? Ah, dreadful. Dreadful. A little bit of coconut, but not much else. Let's get in. Oh, that is terrible. Absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible beer. That is the worst. That is one of the worst tasting beers I've ever tasted in my life. That is beyond terrible. That is awful, 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 awful stuff. It's aftershave. It's aftershave. It's horrendous, 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 like tasting aftershave. That's all I'm getting. It's a little bit coconut-like, but it's, other than that, it's watery liquid. There's not even any malt flavour in here. Can't drink any more of that. So, here's my thing with this. Here's my message to Home Bargains. And that is, when I first got into beer, you could buy bottles of Courage Best. You could buy bottles of Franciscana, relatively cheap. You still can. You still can. You can buy Bud Vaz and that sort of thing for relatively cheap, and they're decent. But the problem is that they've gone into brewing their own beers. They've gone into like this contract brew situation where some of it's okay, some of it's okay, some of the Glencairn stuff is okay, but then some of it is absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. Like these three beers here. These three beers here are just absolutely horrendous. They're undrinkable. American contract brewed beer that shouldn't be on the shelf. And my point to all of this is it's going to get to a point, home bargains, where people are just not going to bother. Like, the reason why I put these three beers together, pardon me, was because I kind of knew before I even opened any of the cans that it was going to be horrendous, it was going to be awful. And it's absolutely awful. Terrible stuff. Even the, yeah, I'm not sure if you can hear that banging. even the neighbours are displeased. So my rating for these beers then, the Lime Lager is a 1 out of 10, it's undrinkable. The Coconut Blonde is a 1 out of 10, it's undrinkable. And the Vanilla Cream Ale is kind of marginally drinkable. If you're a kind of student, if you haven't got much money, if you're kind of like, if you're studying or just got your first place and you want something really, really cheap and you like these alcohol pops, say you're a fan of WKD Blue or some of these other Hooper's Hooch or stuff like that, then maybe, just maybe, you'll like these kind of alcoholic drinks. But for me, they're completely undrinkable and they're leaving Home Bargains with a terrible reputation as far as I'm concerned. Hope you liked the video. Please put your comments in the comments box, subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews, give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom, cheers.